Hey, Drew. Good afternoon.
Hey, but hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going fantastic. Happy New
Yeah,
Year.
yeah. Happy New Year to you too, man. 2022, something new.
Yep.
That's our
Hey,
slogan in here. Something new in 2022.
excellent. Hey, so
Yeah,
yeah, 2 January. I think we're both suffering some, extreme cold weather, out there, a bunch of
yeah,
snow in the, Washington State. And yeah, we
yeah,
got blasted over the last couple of days as well. But it's
yeah,
always great to talk to you. And hey, I am interested in something new in 2022.
yeah,
And maybe we can take our little video calls like this one to the next level. And I think we're starting out with
yeah,
a great book.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And this is like, I'm excited about this. You know, this guy, Eric Greitens, writing this book, Resilience, man, out of all the books that we've read, this one has really impacted me the most. And I pass this book around to as many people as I can get into. And I'm just ready to really look at some of his writings, the things that he talked about, and really do some introspection, man, and see how it applies to our lives. But this book has been a game changer for me.
Yeah, I it resonated with me too in huge ways. I think that he, in an amazing fashion, weave together, historical, philosophical writings into a practical, common language that he tied
Yeah,
to his, SEAL experience with the SEALs and his experience as
yeah,
a humanitarian, and because of me being in special forces, a lot of that training resonated with me. The team camaraderie
uh-huh.
resonated with me. Being in, seeing other um, countries and folks living in desperate situations because of all my world travels, I could really connect to that. And so to me, it was really powerful. So what big ideas? Normally we like breaking things into trinities or the three ideas. Which one would
Yeah,
you start off with today?
yeah. Yeah, a lot of things resonated with me. I picked out. Let's see. I have 6 chapters, and it really, I'll tell you what, the whole book spoke to me. And like any great teacher, he takes Greek history and ties it into how we should be living our life today. Whether as he was using Sophocles as an example, or Achilles, or any of these other examples, he would tie even like eudaimonia, which that word and how he explained how eudaimonia was a word in the Greek language and how it encapsulated a flourishing life. And then he went on to talk about, you know, what we consider to be a flourishing life. And it took him a couple hundred words, a couple paragraphs. And he said, we don't, in our American language, we don't have a word that just captures a flourishing life. And the irony is that, for all of our flourishing in America and all of our abundance, we die the earliest. And so it's like this weird oxymoron. And so when he broke down eudaimonia, flourishing then isn't a passive feeling or an emotional state. Flourishing is a condition that is created by the choices we make in the world we live in. And that really hit me because I remember when I came to prison, um, we're all starting at the same level. It's like, when you start the first day of school, and it's like they say, okay, well, everybody has an A. It's up to you to keep it. It's up to you to maintain it.
Yeah,
You know, um, for us, it was like we had to, if we wanted to flourish in our life in prison, if you wanted to have a life, if you wanted to develop yourself as an individual, you were going to have to make choices on a daily level. Um, Change. It's going to be something that was going to be given to you. The system, the prison system, doesn't promise to change you. What it does, it promises to house you. The change has to come from within you. And so
yeah,
I really like how he tied that eudaimonia. And that's over the last 22 years, I've really strived to constantly just every year. Here we just started another year. You know, how do I want to challenge myself this year? And how am I going to feel that, God, I'm living a full life? That I'm maximizing the best of me in this season of my life, and not just for myself, but for others around me. So, um, yeah, I got 6 categories. I'm going to talk about models, which I think is key. What are you aiming at? What are you allowing to influence you? Identity, habits, reflection, story, and then death. And
Yeah.
I really found how he tied in the aspect of life is finite, and that should be something that fuses us, that we don't have time to waste. I don't have life to waste. I've already spent multiple decades in here, and I feel like when I get out of here, I have to live now. Every day, I don't have another decade to waste. Relationships to reconcile, goals to achieve.
Yep.
So,
No,
sorry, that was long. Go ahead.
Well, hey, I
I'll
like.
drink coffee.
You always bust on me about using big words and words that people won't necessarily resonate with, right? So eudaimonia is one of those words. So it's good. It's good to hear you. Quote one of those multi-syllable words. As something that resonated with you, right?
Greek out there.
Yeah. So no, I think that's pretty fascinating too, because that state of flourishing, or the I can't pronounce this guy's name, Ignai Shimnihai. He's a scientist out in California that actually wrote about the state of flow. Like when you're like in the groove, whether it's playing a sport, or creating something of art, or musicians have it, or sometimes I'm in the flow, working, just writing or whatever. That's a state, that's an example of a state of flourishing, and I think that's a great state for us to pursue. And it's the state of pursuing excellence. So I agree with you 100%. I liked how he framed it, though, inside of so my big idea, my first one, to be happiness, because he defined happiness by three things. He said, number one, pleasure. He says you can't ignore that there is a reality of pleasure brings happiness. And I've been super hungry, I've been super thirsty, and when you consume that food or drink that water, there is immense pleasure in that consumption. Okay, there's also pleasure in achieving prosperity and fine living in different aspects, whether it's a nice comfortable bed, feeling secure. I mean, you could go back to the hierarchy needs, all those types of things. So pleasure is one state of happiness, and I think that's something you need to try to create in your life. The next piece is you need to recognize the grace that you have in life, with gratitude. He used the word grace. I like gratitude a little more, but it's a humble recognition of the good things that everyone has in their life. So you need to, spend time on pleasure, spend time on, gratitude and appreciation of grace. Those are really important, because that when you do that reflection, it brings you a state of happiness, right? The third is, which is what I think you were getting at, is the pursuit, or the state of pursuing excellence. Because a lot of times you're trying to make yourself better, you're trying to create something beautiful or successful, and you need to have multiple lines of excellence that you're pursuing in your life. And if you can manage those three things, or hit on those three things, I think that brings happiness into your life. And to me, that's like an aspect of fulfillment. That goes back to our Trinity, of where we think maybe the ideal Trinity that we should be shooting for is fulfillment, love, and joy. And I think happiness is something you can use on a daily basis to pursue that long term goal of fulfillment, joy, and love. So anyway, so that's my big one.
He's got a great quote here. He says, "Joy, like sweat, is usually a byproduct of your activity, not your aim. A focus on happiness will not lead to excellence. A focus on excellence will, over time, lead to happiness." And even in here, a lot of times, we want to be happy, we want to be content. And a focus on that doesn't really lead to it. But when you focus your energy on your work, or your family, or your relationships, and you pursue excellence in these whatever categories that are driving you in your life right now.
Yeah.
When you focus your energies on being excellent in the area, happiness or joy naturally trails. It's like working out.
Yeah.
Like when you start working out, it's always miserable. I remember when I first started working out, the form was awkward for me. The weight, and of course, I'm in prison, so everybody's ridiculously strong and had been lifting weights for decades. When I stepped in there, and I had this I had this workout partner that just prided himself on making me do legs until the point where I'm ready to puke. But as weeks turned into months and months turned into years, and then I became to adjust to that level of training, and I developed a level of excellence in working out with powerlifting in the beginning, trying to do some bodybuilding, and now more of a CrossFit cross training. I've developed a level of happiness in my pursuits, not because I was running there to be happy. I was running there to grow and pursuing my best growth. And I realize the same applies with work. If I'm miserable going to work because I'm focused on, I want my coworkers to make me happy. I want my boss to make me, I'm not going to find it. But if I go there to bring my best to it, and I find that my skill level begins to grow and I'm better at what I do, I'm going to have greater happiness in everything that I do.
Yeah. So it goes back to that state of flourishing, right? The state
Yeah.
of, to be in the pursuit. So yeah, I really like that. So how he framed happiness and how to move towards that, I thought was pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
my second one, he really emphasized the importance of having a life philosophy.
Yeah.
Everybody has one, but the
Yeah.
question is do you acknowledge it, or are you just bumbling along, with no plan? And you have to have probably multiple strategies in your life, because life is complex, because you have relationships, you have work, you have some level of fitness and health, you, and you need to have strategies and approaches that you try to follow in a disciplined manner through habits, to deal with life's turns and challenges and bumps in the road. um,
Yeah.
and the key is you got to take responsibility for it. Are you being deliberate, or are you being blind to your reality? And I
Yeah.
think then that he emphasized the importance of virtuous living, with an identity that you're shooting towards. That's almost like the compasses in your life. And, the studying of heroes is examples to emulate. And that the key is, and this is probably, I heard you talk about identity as one of your things. The key is not let feelings drive your day-to-day activities. You got to flip it around. You need to focus on the identity you want to be, have the behaviors, try to exhibit the behaviors that are replicate that identity, and then that'll drive the right feelings versus
Yeah.
following your feelings first, because then that's going to put you right in the ditch. So,
Yeah.
so having a life philosophy that ties those things together, I think, was the key big idea. The second one that I had. So does that
Yeah.
resonate to some of yours?
He said when you're struggling, you don't need a book in your hands. You need the right words in your head. You need the right words in your mind. And that's so true. We focus on, and then our actions will come from our feelings, and then we end up with an identity. But that's completely the wrong approach. And I like how he wrote that guy Walker, and he says, I want you to flip that upside down and write it the other way. Identity first,
Yeah,
actions, and then feelings.
yeah,
And the biggest question when I get out of bed in the morning is, who do I want to be today? Who do I want to be? Now I'm going to face a myriad of different personalities. That could be from officers that work here, or supervisors that I work under, or people that I work with. But the main goal that would determine my day is not the multitude of people that I come across, but it's whether or not I determine to be the person that I want. And then once I decide, okay, hey, you know, I'm, I'm whatever. I'm compassionate. I'm a listener. Whatever. These are the key attributes that I want to exemplify in my life. You know,
yep,
and then I make my actions line up with that. At the end of the day, I'm going to end up with a feeling. And it's surprising how backwards all of us have had it for so long. And when Eric Greitens talked about this with his buddy, man, I wrote that down immediately. Identity, actions, feelings. And the other one I'll talk about is habits. He gave this great example of, and maybe you could, from your military training, but he was talking about sniper school, maybe shooting. when he was in SEAL training, and he was talking about your natural point of aim, and the process that you go through in order to get your natural point of aim. And he says your life has a natural point of aim. It flies in the direction of your habits. In order to change the direction of your life, you have to reset your habits. And, I've had this conversation with so many people that a lot of times I want this result in my life. I want to be healthier. I want to be happier. I want to wake up more refreshed, right? But I don't have the habit of getting earlier or winding down, journaling, shutting my mind down. These kind of things that will really determine whether or not I end up with that end result.
Yep. Yep.
And I love how Eric Greitens really boils this down, that I need to look at and go, my life will only be the sum total of the habits that I allow to flourish. So I'll have more energy if I build the habit of sleeping, making sure I'm getting that 8 hours of sleep a night, and controlling the habits of my diet. Man, I had a workout the other day, and I was just suffering through it because I had just eaten all this kind of garbage throughout the holidays. It wasn't bad. I mean, that's once a year. But that habit can't be repeated all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm not going to thrive in my workouts. And it's the same thing with my relationships. Having the habit of listening, giving thoughtful responses, having compassion. Let me throw in one little quote really quick. In the awareness of your own struggle, you'll find room to be forgiving of yourself and others. And I remember that in my interactions with people, a lot of times I'm searching for the answer. I want to give them an answer. I want to give them the solution. They're telling me something, and really my advice, my counsel, whatever I've been through in my life needs to come from a place of an awareness of my own struggle. The people that are really harsh and critical that I've come across in my life are really unaware of their own struggle in life.
Yeah.
A lack of an impact with people. When you first don't approach it with a place of understanding, and not just understanding them, because everybody isn't just a problem to figure out, but really understand the complex problem of yourself.
Yep.
And understanding, hey, that I'm a complex individual, that I don't have it all together, that I'm trying to figure it out daily. And in that own awareness, you're going to meet a great thing called humility. And from that place of humility, man, that is the launching pad for life, for reaching people in life, for going to that next level. If you don't have the humility to analyze yourself, you'll never even know where you need to grow.
Yep. Yeah, and life will give you, and if you're really acknowledging your fears and confronting your weaknesses and trying to build the courage, feeding that courage wolf instead of the fear wolf, and you're going for it and you're stretching yourself and getting out of the comfort zone, that's what's gonna that you're gonna get indicators on where you need to improve, and you need to take recognize that reality and learn and grow from it. And then also have the humility that everybody brings something special to the table that you don't have.
Yeah.
And seek to learn from everybody. So I think that's a key aspect. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we're hitting on, I think we've got the same value out of it. So my last one, if I were to break it into three, is that he said, everybody, he talked about the ingredients of life, and one of them was struggle. You need meaningful struggle in your life, right? So, number one, you need oxygen. That's that's the first thing you'll die from if you don't have it. Then it's probably water. Then it's probably sleep, and then it's food, and then it's love, and then he argues that meaningful struggle. So that you can grow physically, mentally, and socially, and so you don't degenerate and you know peak out. And so, the key thing is, he said, "Hey, the world." This is a quote: "The world breaks everyone, and afterward,
I got that.
many are
Yeah.
strong at the broken parts. And
The
so
broken places. Ernest Hemingway.
yep. So the key is, okay, it's not everybody are strong at the broken parts or broken places, but are you going to be one of the many that learns and grows from where you're broken? And I think that's one of those little like philosophical truths that need to be integrated in your life philosophy. That you can bounce back. And the other thing he said, he said in one part of the book, you have to create your why. You have to choose the struggles that you're going to bear. And also, if you want a purposeful life, you have to create your purpose. And so, you don't have to struggle about everything, but you need to choose what
Yeah.
you're gonna bear and what you're gonna fight and
Yeah.
fight for. And I got great meaning out of that, and that changes through life. So I wanted to be a professional military officer. I want to be a good family man, and so all these things require struggle and preparation and dedication and sacrifice and those are overlapping purposes, trying to be meaningful and supportive for other people in my life. And that has included a lot of struggle. And so the key is just to keep on pursuing that next struggle if you achieve success in one of those fields. So
Yeah. Well, the thing is, man, the struggle is a gift. Sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
Because life is a gift. Yeah, and I want to share something with you really quick. When he talks about death, he says the urgency that comes from our limited span of our lives pushes us to find meaning in the time that we have. And about a week ago, a guy died right here in the spot that I'm sitting right now.
Oh wow.
That is it. And I sat in my cell and watched them try to revive him. And sadly, they were unable to revive him. And I sat there thinking about my life. And does my life have the meaning that one day, I pray to God that I don't die in this very spot where that man left this earth. But one day my life will be over. And will I have extracted the meaning out of my life that I hope to achieve? Eric Greitens said something, man, I love the way this dude talks, man, and I hope I get to meet him one day. And the fact that he's been through some struggles in life makes me feel more akin to him than estranged, right?
Yeah.
Because I live in a land of like, we're all repenting, like we're all broken from the choices that we made. And he says, death like the sun, the fact that our lives are finite, like the sun, should be something that infuses every aspect of our life. But it doesn't make any sense to stare at the sun. You can't hyper focus on the fact that, yes, life will end for you one day. But you have to acknowledge that, yes, life will be over for me one day, and I don't have time to waste. That every relationship that I make and maintain has to count. These moments that I have with you, these conversations that we're having, and even for the people that are listening, these minutes count, these hours count. And that wasn't the first man that I've seen die in prison. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people die over the years. And but it makes us all sit and face the reality that our lives are limited. And it reinforces even more so how much I need to wake up every single day with a purpose-driven mindset and have a sense of urgency, not to be in a rush to blow past life, because it's not about it's not just about my accomplishments, and it's not about the pursuit of things, but it is about the pursuit of meaning.
Yeah.
And in order to pursue meaning, I need to recognize my own fallibility, right? My own struggle, and I need to engage life from the right place, with the right heart, the right mindset. Anyways, that's my final thought. You got a final thought?
Yeah, you need to push yourself, and not
We got a minute and a half.
Yeah, you need to push yourself and not get complacent. You got to continue to pursue excellence. Try to live in that band of excellence. That's an old Army phrase. Is
Yeah.
especially in a complex world, You got to choose what your lines of excellence are going to be, and then work hard to have those to be operating in a at a level of excellence, because
Yeah.
it's the maintenance of that state of excellence that it really, I think, fuels the engine of happiness, and that requires failure, right? So that also my experience in the Army is we would always train to failure. Why? Because then we would learn and grow from it. And
Yes.
it doesn't mean you need to crash your car and things like that, but you always need to be reflecting and pushing yourself and
Yeah.
making yourself grow. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good, man. That's really good. And part of failure, pushing yourself, finding your limits. Find your limits. Listen, man, I love you, man, and I also want to just tell the people that that tune in with us that we thank them and we appreciate them, and we encourage them to comment and give us your feedback. But what do you find? What drives you, and where do you extract your meaning out of life? We want to know what you're going through and how you're encountering life on a daily basis as well. So we thank you, and brother, I love you, man.
Hey, always good to talk to you, Drew. And
Yeah,
yeah, have a great week. Hope we get through this winter quickly. And I'll talk to
yeah,
you
no
soon.
kidding. All
Bye.
right, man. Take care.